Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about video games. I don't talk about playing video games as much as I do with reading books because I think that there's a stigma there that if you read, you don't play video games. But I have enjoyed many games as a reader, and so today I hope to share with you 5 video games that you also might enjoy as a bookish person. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it. The first game I want to recommend is Heavy Rain, basically an interactive Dean Koontz novel. If you really enjoy detective stories or, suspense or twists, you will love this game. It is about a murderer called the Origami Killer who, when he takes children, leaves origami in his wake so that detectives will know that it's him. The game starts out and it's very poignant because you are a father who loses his son in a crowd at a mall. The game switches between the father's perspective, a detective's perspective, and then a young girl who you don't really know why she's involved at first. So in that way, it's kind of like a book where you have, the perspectives changing between the chapters. In terms of gameplay, this is a really easy game if you're new to gaming because all the gameplay really involves is you kind of walking around and sort of investigating things. If you love Dean Koontz or Stephen King novels, I would definitely try this game out. The next game I have for you, Metro Redux, actually is directly adapted from the text of the same name, Metro 2033 and Metro 2034 by Dmitry Glukovsky. This is a work of speculative fiction which prophesizes what would happen if there was a nuclear apocalypse in Moscow, Russia. In the face of this nuclear apocalypse, the pockets of humanity that still exist are forced into the underground metro. What's really interesting about this game and this book is that it incorporates a lot of history. Pockets of humanity in the second game start to rally together, and their culture and ideology is based off of pre-existing ideologies. So there is a communist party that forms, there's a Nazi party that forms. Basically, it is the epitome of history repeating itself, even in the wake of an apocalypse, and it's just so thoughtful and interesting. So if you are into speculative fiction or stories about apocalypse or anything like that, you will definitely love this game. And if you are a new gamer, I still think that this game is relatively easy in context with other games that are out there. The next game I want to talk about is called Life is Strange. This game is very similar to Heavy Rain in that the game mechanics are very simple and straightforward. As I mentioned earlier, there's just a lot of exploring and puzzles. This game follows a young girl who goes to a prestigious academy for photography, and she learns very early on that she has the ability to manipulate time. It kind of plays with the idea of the butterfly effect and that your choices make a difference. So when you go back in time and make different choices, that will impact things later down the line, therefore making the game very heavy on the player's choices, which I think is such an interesting and innovative way to play video games. Something else I find really interesting is that when 13 Reasons Why started gaining a lot of notoriety because of the Netflix series, the Twitter page for Life is Strange tweeted at 13 Reasons Why and was like, hey, I heard that our gamers are reading your book and there's a lot of similar themes. I think that's just so great how the mediums sort of crossing that line in the sand and talking to one another. The next game I want to talk about is The Witcher 3. Like Metro, it is also based on a series of books and short stories. Basically, it is about a witcher, which is someone who is paid to hunt supernatural monsters. In The Witcher 3 and in the 2 games that come before it, Geralt, which is the main character, goes on these epic adventures, and they're so elaborate because they're open world games. Basically means that there's potential for hundreds of hours of gameplay. The Witcher 3 in itself apparently has more lines of dialogue than all of the Lord of the Rings books combined. And speaking of Lord of the Rings, if you are a Lord of the Rings fan, you will love Witcher 3 because the world building is so elaborate and there's so many different elements that make it just a wonderful fantasy adventure. I don't know if you've noticed on this channel, but I don't really read a lot of fantasy, but playing The Witcher 3 actually got me really intrigued at the idea of possibly entering that world of fantasy and picking up more fantasy books. The last game I want to talk about today is The Walking Dead. You've probably heard of The Walking Dead because it is one of those series that has been adapted across a wide array of mediums. It started off as a comic book series, gravitated into the world of television, and now it is a video game. This is another post-apocalyptic game. It seems to be one of my favorite genres. In this case, it has to do with zombies. Now, zombies are one of those video game tropes, but in this situation, the game is less about the actual zombies and more about the relationships that exist in the zombie apocalypse world. It's very similar to Life is Strange in that your choices as a player really do impact the story's progression. I've never been more emotionally distraught over the choices I've had to make, whether it be should we kill this person because they were bit, should we keep them, you just like don't know. For me that's just like such a like heart-racing situation that I like really enjoy, and I really consider my choices. They feel important, and that is one of the most like pivotal things for me when it comes to a game. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it's a lot different than what I usually do. The idea of video games and books and the cross-genre thing that's happening is something I'm very interested in and wrote about for my school's literary magazine, and I will link that below if you're more interested in this concept. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Hit subscribe if you're new here. I would love to have you. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye!